Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have Dan Vister back with me. Today, we are actually going to speak about whether business coaching works. So, Dan, do you think business coaching works?
It depends. It depends on the coach. It depends on your ability to listen and take direction. It depends on a lot of things. I've had a couple of phenomenal business coaches. Um, they've led me down the right path, which was fantastic, but I've also had some ones that have really sucked. And when you trust in somebody who doesn't really understand where you're going, what you're capable of, that kind of thing, um, you can just burn a lot of time. Like the whole idea behind a coach for me is they've walked down this path before. So they know where the landmines are, they know where the detours are, they know what to avoid and what to go for all out. And I had one of my best coaches actually was one of the least expensive. I actually had a coach that cost God, five figures, you know, and totally useless. So yeah, so there's it really depends. But if you do your research and you really find out if this person can really do what they say they're going to do, they're pure gold.
Amazing.
What do you think? What do you think
What
about
do
this?
I think? I have a multi-faceted answer here. So
Okay.
I think on one hand it can work amazing if you have the right chemistry, the right communication. It's like a two-way street. You're sharing what your goals are. They see things that that you don't see. They hold you accountable, like all these factors, right? And then there's the other end of the spectrum where you're spending a ton of money and you're being kind of guided to, well, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and then months go by, and then you start to see, well, wait a minute, you're investing, and then nothing's happening, and they're
Hmm.
collecting, right?
Right. Yep.
So there's different scenarios, and then there are those that are by the book. They literally go by the book, and it doesn't feel personal enough. So it's just a matter of, again, like you said, research right off the get-go. Who are you dealing with? What information, what are their credentials? Like that's a big one too, because everybody wants to be successful, and then you see people like, up on LinkedIn, social media, everywhere. Their credentials might not be what they are. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of scamming that goes on out there. Unfortunately, there's a ton of that stuff. So all these things have to be looked at. Nothing can be taken for granted these days anymore.
No, it
No.
can't. And even people who look great on the outside, even after you do your research, sometimes you
Mhm.
find that they just have a big group behind them. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I remember I went to myself and one of my business partners went to LA for this conference. And like really small group of people, like 50. We had a billionaire had sold his company to sold his company to Google. He had got 1.3 billion. All these great people were going to go. When we went there, it was just like, oh my God, 4 days was basically we learned nothing except all of his great connections. It
Right.
was brutal, but uh,
And
anyway.
4 people at the workshop.
Well, he sold it really well.
Right.
He got 50 people in the workshop,
Okay.
and it was over $10,000 a pop. So
Okay.
so he had a good payday anyway. And
Interesting.
he made all these promises beforehand that he didn't keep. But but the bottom line is that for me anyway is that the biggest thing is that coach has had to have actually done this themselves. It can't be somebody like you said that's just like going by the book, like things they've read, or there's a guru and they're one of the coaches of the guru. For me, that never
Mhm.
works because there's
Mhm.
so much nuance to success. Do you find that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It can't be one, kind of step-by-step plan, but it also can't be like, I'm going to promise you the moon and back. And
Yeah.
then, there has to be that midway point. And I think as new entrepreneurs and just even seasoned entrepreneurs, right, there's always that trust factor. Like, who do you trust?
Hmm.
Where do you like go? How do you know you're trusting the right contact person, there's always going to be that risk. There's always going to be that risk,
Yeah, and
right?
it's such a difficult thing to really determine. But you've got to take those chances, right? Because you're never going to find the right person unless you do go out and take those chances. But you want to mitigate the risk as much as possible. So talk to as many people as you can. Go on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you hang out,
Yep.
and ask people, who did you find to be the best? People are very open with sharing this stuff, I find.
Oh, yeah. And what about you? Now, let's talk about Winback Labs for a minute.
Yep.
How did coaching or does coaching fit into that? Like, have
Yeah,
you received any coaching for that?
yep, yep. It fits in, big time because the thing about win back, it is very nuanced, right? Are you winning back smaller customers? Are you winning back bigger customers? Is it a subscription-based business? Is it one-off? And we've got these huge charts about how we go down different paths. So yeah, win back is not a one size fits all. And for a lot of people, win back isn't the answer, right? They should be doing other things. So
Right.
fortunately, I've been, around the block a number of times, so I know I have at least a better idea now than I ever had before about where to go and where not to go.
Right. And what about the business source? Tell us a little bit about, like, tell the audience what is the business source?
Yeah, the business source, what we do is we summarize business books, we sell leadership programs, that kind of thing. We've been around forever. Uh,
Hmm.
that was a fairly easy business to start because the internet was just coming in, and so we had this massive competitive advantage compared to other people who were still distributing their stuff physically, right? So now our cost of distribution was zero. So then we combined that with only selling to big companies, like selling thousands at a time instead of a single at a time. So our
Hmm.
cost of acquisition was really low. So that was that business. We got crushed like three times. We got crushed in 2001 with the dot-com crash. We got crushed again
Oh my
in
God.
the 2008 financial meltdown. And then we got crushed again in 2016. So we had to pivot each time. And the last
Mhm.
pivot was with Winback because we lost tons of clients and I had to really up my Winback game. And that's how I discovered how to do Winback properly.
Beautiful. So what's next on your agenda?
Winback Labs is it. Last business.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Um,
And how many people are you at Winback Labs?
we are only two.
Okay.
We're right now what I'm doing is I got the podcast. Book is coming out in February. And I'm just starting partnerships. So basically, I want to really hit the ground hard in February. I'm divorcing myself from a lot of the business source so that I can devote almost all of my time to win back. And then we ramp up. Then we're going to ramp up the team.
Oh, beautiful. And
Yep.
will you be using a business coach to do any of this work?
Boy, that's a good question. That's a great question.
Or
Ah,
are you considering that?
I never thought of it. Like basically, what I've been doing is I've been trying to learn everything I can possibly learn about win back. Like I've got a pretty good depth of knowledge, but I've been learning from everybody I can learn from. So basically it's just no, if I could find somebody who's done this, oh my God, yeah, I would.
Great.
I would.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to find you a business coach right away. We need to
We
do
do.
that right away. All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.